So either talk to the camera or talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, all right.
That's the
Yeah, don't
audience.
worry about this one. This one's just for us.
Okay.
So it's like cross angle. All right. All right, you guys, welcome to All Our Problems podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to pass over to my husband. He's going to introduce our guests today. So
when we first started this podcast, there was a few people on my short list who I wanted to invite. The first one I called was Brendon Sadler, goes by Sads. So what's up, man?
What's up, man? How are you? I appreciate you guys bringing me on.
Course.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, dude, we're excited for you to be here. You know, I know we've done some stuff in the summer, you know, doing with my basketball team and stuff, and I've told a lot about you to my wife and kind of going over what you do.
I know about you.
Things.
It's nice to finally put a name to a face.
No, I appreciate you guys. No, this is awesome.
Yeah, man. It's just like we want to bring you on, just as people are going to see, just like the passion that what you do and passion you have. So
I appreciate that.
We just wanted to talk about kind of what you do and how did you get into sports performance?
I'm
and
excited.
Where did that story kind of start for you?
Yeah, I want to hear that.
Kind of a weird story, to be honest. I actually wasn't into I wasn't into sports training at all. I actually hated the weight room. I mean, you can tell by my stature, I'm a small, fast guy. I always was. I really shied away from the weight room, even as like a high school athlete. But when I went to college, I was going to major in exercise science, and I was going to pursue physical therapy. So when I went in, rehab was my thing. I tore my ACL my senior year of high school playing football. So like after that, I kind of set my mind on rehab. So rehab was my main focus, and truthfully, school is not for me. So like I still went to try to walk on for football, and football kept me active, but like school was very, very tough. So I got to my junior year, and you had to take those like in-depth classes, like your chemistries, your bios, your physics, stuff like that. And I'm like, it started getting real, and my palms are sweating thinking about it, But during that time, I got blessed to meet somebody. I actually, we're from the same area. He went to Wheeling, and I'm from Weirton, and it was about 30 minutes apart. And he showed up one day and started a sports performance company and was like, hey, this is something new. We've never done this where we're at. We're from West Virginia, so we're around a bunch of farm boys and farmland. Their speed is not the main objective.
Right, there's a strength.
Full beard, lumberjack style.
A lot of time they're in 8th grade.
Big time. So like teaching speed is like an afterthought. That's more of like, we see them on the trainers in Florida and stuff like that, but speed was an afterthought. So I didn't know what that was. And at that point I was going through my finals and I'm like, I'm at a loss. I'm like, I might as well give something out. I didn't even have an internship set up. So I'm like, this would be an awesome opportunity to get my internship hours.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
We ended up going with him, and he had 8 schools at the time. That's how I actually got connected to Canton, because all of the teams he trained and set up with at that time were all Canton located. So we would travel 90 minutes every single day. We would have to get up at 5 a.m. 5:30 was the meeting point down in Wheeling. So I had to drive 30 minutes to meet him. And then we would drive 90 minutes up here for our first session around 8 a.m.
Oh, my gosh.
And we would not get home until about 9:30, 10 o'clock p.m. Remind you, this is all unpaid at the time. I did everything unpaid.
Yeah.
So
just the experience of
modern day slavery, So it was an awesome experience. I almost tapped out a month in, and my fiance, who I'm still with to this day, she was my girlfriend at the time, was like, if you quit this, you're an idiot. And it's like, this is it for you. It fits for you. This is exactly where you should be. And after that, I'm like, all right, I'm going to take it seriously. And it's
give it all you got.
Especially since knowing you, I could never imagine you doing anything other than what you do.
The rehab therapy thing, like I'm very good at masseuse, but it's like, I don't know if I could sit still. I have ADHD, so I'm like a very high energy person. It's like, I'd be like, hey, what's up? You ready to rehab?
And they're like eye twitching, like, okay.
Yeah, they're limping in with a
you got wheelchairs. You got people coming in on wheelchairs and stuff. So
that's awesome.
God put me in the right direction.
Yeah, it's good to have that support too. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Like having a support system for you is really like so important.
Oh, absolutely.
And I also want to say, like, you kind of touched on, you really feel like there's no other route for you in college and all this. And like going down that route, I kind of had something similar where I was going to college for engineering.
Okay,
you get into the later years and it's starting to get serious. And so then I started to get more and more miserable. I did an internship. I was so miserable every day doing engineering. And so I was like, okay, I could do this for the rest of my life, or I could go back to this one candy company. And Griff was like my one supporter saying, okay, go back to it. Like you're working $12 an hour part-time coming from an
heck
engineering
yeah.
job.
Heck
It's
Like
a lot
just
of trust.
Yeah.
seriously.
Hey, you got a good one.
To say it worked out though.
Yeah,
it worked out fine.
seriously. I
Absolutely.
think he's just a big picture guy. I mean, like, I'm sure that you've kind of picked up on it is like Griff's a really good dreamer. He can really make something out of something that somebody wouldn't really look twice
Well,
at.
the way that I always view things is I always look at the finish line. Here's where I want to be.
Yep.
How am I going to get to there? And it's just being like, okay, here are the people that I know that can help me along this way to get there. So for me, it's always just like, here's my end goal. And then everything else will fill in as you're going down that journey. Like I'm just not going to, there's going to be obstacles and eventually I'm going to be on,
100%.
maybe I'm going east when I need to go north, but eventually the road will come back.
Everybody thinks that pass from A to B, but
And
in
it's-
between that A and B is a squiggle line. that
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
go through the
Oh my
grind
gosh.
with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Constant ups and downs all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, I think that's the other thing too is like it's hard to find people who will be honest around you and say like it wasn't always perfect. Like I struggled too and different things and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like I'm still getting to where I'm going because you're persevering, you're endurance.
100%, yeah.
You know? I want to hear more about your guys' like basketball program that you had over the summer because I'm
Yeah.
just so interested in it. Like you're obviously very good at what you do.
I think even before we get
So-
into that, like how when you went from West Virginia and you moved, if I'm not
Oh,
wrong,
yeah.
to Canton first, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
started
actually, we
training.
moved to Caddis. I moved to Caddis first.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're from small town West Virginia, and my fiance at the time, she was the breadwinner. She was making money at the time, still is actually. But she was a pharmacy technician, so she had an awesome job back home. She did not go to college. She went to do the pharmacy thing right out of school. So
That's
that was her
awesome for
lifeline. They were
her,
going to
yeah.
pay for her pharmacy and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I kind of had to yoke her out of her dream a little bit to kind of chase
Mm-hmm.
mine. So it was one of those,
Little give and take moment.
it really was a give and take moment. And we
can
sat
relate
down,
there for sure.
had a nice deep talk, and we just from where we're from. I mean, it's only 90 minutes from here, really, but it's like it's
It's a different.
Night
It's a
and
whole
day,
different.
not
yeah.
many people come
Yeah.
out, So it's like
Yeah.
this is what we get, and it's like mill
This is our life, and this
it
is what
that's
this is
it.
what we're
It's
all gonna
literally
do.
it. It's black and white. It's black and
Yeah.
white. So when you go out of
So-
that bubble, and try to be a different color, it's weird to some people.
Oh
So
yeah.
getting her out of there was a grind. And I got her up here. We moved to Caddis about a midway point. So I was still driving an hour to and from.
Okay. So you both compromised. Okay.
She would drive 45 minutes back to Fallensby at the time, which
Okay.
is still in West Virginia. So from Ohio to West Virginia. And I would
Yeah.
drive an hour to Canton. is what it
Every
was.
day.
Every day.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, really, how long were you doing that commute before you were like, okay, I just gotta make the move?
Driving is
you
nothing
know?
now. Put it that way. I feel like a certified truck driver. I can get my CDLs.
Yeah.
Like an hour drive to me is 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how he is. Because when we first met, we lived an hour apart, an hour and 15.
An hour 15. I went to
Maybe
college
20.
2 hours away. And I was
Yeah.
still finishing college when like I was planning on moving up here and stuff. So I'm up here all the time, and it's waking up at 5:30 in the morning to get to class by 7:30.
Driving down to Mount Vernon.
And
Yeah,
at
how
that
to stop
time,
it,
we
yeah,
were
it's
just
just-
trying to grow the brand too. So
Yeah.
like any team we got, we took. So
Yeah.
at one time we had a team in West Virginia. Then we'd have a team in Indiana, PA, which is from West
Yeah.
Virginia, 2.5 hours away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then our last session would be in Canton, Ohio. So we'd go from West Virginia, PA, and Ohio, 3 states, one day. And at that time, like I said, there's no money, zero, just an
Yeah, you're
opportunity.
sacrificing
It's just a
a
dream that you're
lot
chasing.
Just a
personally
dream.
there.
Yeah.
Making
So it
it
was like
hustle and
it
getting
was
it done.
just an awesome leap.
Yeah.
But that year alone and that summer alone taught me a huge life lesson. It's,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
everything else kind of seems a little bit easier.
Yeah.
When did you decide that you're like, I feel comfortable to kind of start moving on to your own thing doing it? Are you like, like when did you start? It's like Paradise was going to be it for you.
Truthfully, it's like it's one of those moments where everybody's growing. You're constantly growing, and when
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
two wolves in a hen house, it's like you kind of got to go your separate ways
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It was
You
nothing,
probably like learned as much as you could learn, and
awesome mentor.
Yeah.
The guy taught
Yeah.
me everything. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, I wasn't in that field at all. So like to
Yeah.
give him zero credit, but he
Yeah.
taught me everything at that time. And it got to the point that I felt like I could be doing this on my own. I could be, it's not about the money, but I do want to be able to
make
in,
money.
in this field. You can't have kids really. Like it's all day, every day. So all these athletes are my kids.
Just say those are your kids.
Yeah.
You've been full time into them.
It's
every
full
day.
time, and it's like to the point to where I could do this forever for sure. But it's like, when will I have time to train my kids? When will I have time to raise my kids?
Yeah.
And I wanted to start planning for that. So I'm like, in order to do that, I had to create my own schedule.
Yeah.
And at my old job, there was no opportunity to really be able to do that. So I'm like, that's where that summer, that internship taught me like take a leap in life. So I was like, I turned 30 at the time, and I'm like, if I'm gonna do it, now's the time.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I'm doing it.
Nike
I'm
gave
doing
me
it.
the best
Better time than
advice.
any
Just
is
do it.
now.
So I'm like, I'm gonna take a leap, and sure enough, it's working out so far.
And we've talked about it previously as well with other guests, and it just kind of turns into, if you're never going to make that jump and you're like, oh, I'm waiting for the right time.
You'll never do it.
There's a lot of good people
doing
that don't make it.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the glass holding them back. You know, it's either you break it and you go through it, or it's like, oh, I'm comfortable with being where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah. And there is like, you know, there are people out there who they just want to clock in, be a cashier, clock out, go home, and they're happy with that. And I'm like, I love that for you, but that could not be me. Like, I'm always striving for greatness. I want to try something new, be risky,
Never settle.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be like that till I'm 90. You know, I feel like that's what keeps people young.
I won't make it to 90, but that's the goal.
You will make 90, man. With that attitude, you won't make 90. That's the whole point of this conversation.
That's true.
Yeah.
You got to push through.
I need to keep him around.
Yeah.
He says this all the time. He's like, you'll be lucky if I'm here at 45. And I'm like,
that's everybody, though. That's everybody's mindset. You know, I mean, like, you never even know what you're eating nowadays. So it's
I mean, that's the thing is, like, we do a lot of, you know, cutting out all fast food. Like, we don't eat a lot of fast food. We don't do a lot of stuff like it's
Whole Foods
cooking, because nowadays, man, I mean, more than anything, it's diet now. It's gonna mean all these things you can't even pronounce. You don't know what it is. It's put in everything.
I had serious stomach surgery, like a life humbling stomach surgery about a year ago, and it almost. Matt, is that normal?
No.
That's all right. Hey, we're going through it here. We're going through it.
Sounds like they're in the room with us.
Yeah, I thought it was a fire alarm.
We're like, are we supposed to leave now?
They'll probably be loud on their way back too, but it's fine.
Right.
But no, I went through a serious, like, kind of like one of those situations where you never know when life hits you. And I was in the middle of a training session, and I felt a sharp pain in my lower abdomen, and I was in the hospital for about 3 months at a time, had to get an ileostomy, a colostomy.
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
I've had things that a 70-year-old should be having done to them, you know? And so I had a reverse ileostomy where I had to be on a colostomy bag for about a month and a half, 2 months, poop through the bag, which was a terrible experience. Oh, wow. Don't suggest it for anybody. And then thank God you can reconnect. But I say that because that whole entire time I was in the hospital, nowadays it's almost impossible that's a conversation for a whole different day, because it's almost impossible to not have something that's like, unless you're planting your own veggies or slaughtering your own meat, like it's impossible.
For us, like, we try to find the local butchers who are like the smaller family-owned farms and stuff like that. What's the one that we just went to recently that was so nice?
Oh, I can't think of the name of it.
It's local.
Support your local butchers, because I'm telling you, I've been buying like cows, half cows and stuff, and it's been a blessing.
We have good friends that are farmers, young family farms. Hopefully they'll come on here one day. But like we gotten some meat from them, and it was just like, you can tell the difference. You can absolutely tell the difference. We haven't eaten supermarket
the look of it's
meat
completely
in
different.
years.
And you have that fine line now. Do you want to pay the extra buck to get the good stuff, or do you want to?
Yeah.
Because inflation is no joke.
It is, yeah. But thankfully, like, I've noticed if you go direct to the farmers, like I really try to go directly to the farmer. And most often, like, they're pretty competitive on pricing, but it is like everybody's feeling it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is.
Yeah.
I think our butter for Buttermints has gone up like astronomically over the last few years. It's everything. Everything's going up. It's painful.
It's insane how expensive everything is.
Yeah.
Everything. It's everything. Yeah.
So, so where did you go from starting to like where you are now? I mean, from everything Griffin's told me, you kind of have a name for yourself around here. I mean, Matt knows you well. Everybody knows you well. So Where did the tides like start to turn? Where did you start to see like the difference? Was it like day one and you were like, this is a success and I know everybody and I've got good connections, or was it like
I still
over time?
don't feel that, to be honest. I don't know. Like, people call it a humble behavior. I really don't feel that yet. You know, like, I don't feel like I'm making it. I don't feel like I'm really getting out there yet. I feel like I still have a lot of work to do. And I make a lot of mistakes doing it. You know, it's being a business owner is a growing phase. It's like being an infant all over again, kind of. And it's like you're going through that management phase and you're like, okay, I think I got it. And you want to put your big boy pants on. And then when you do, it's like, oh, shoot, these don't fit yet.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so it's definitely something to adjust to. So I truthfully, now that I'm a business owner, I don't feel that at all. So I don't feel the success. I'm always like, what can make us more successful? What do we got to do to get out there? And it's
I kind of relate to that because, I mean, we're the same way. People all the time are like, that's so awesome. You know, you guys are 28 and you're doing all this. And we're both just like, we're just out here trying to do cool things. Like, that's really what our strive is for. Like,
well, I think like what you said, like the humble behaviors, like you look at it that way, but it's also the fact of I'm not happy staying in this box. Like, I want to continue to do more and more and more the best that I can to continue to make whatever I'm doing the best at what I'm doing.
Oh, 100%.
So
100%.
Yeah,
you should do that with life, man. So you can live to be 90. That's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
Genetics.
I'm going to call him up. I'm going to call him up.
Man.
I'm like, give me a pep talk right now, please.
If life was about genetics, I wouldn't be in this field, brother. Like, just being honest. Like, I never thought I'd work with like a Miles Garrett type athlete, you know, like, and all these guys are bigger, stronger, faster than I ever was and will be. So it's like, I never thought this was my niche. I told you I was afraid of the weight room.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. You just gotta
do
attack it. Yeah. So
go at it.
That's it.
That's awesome though, that you were able to like soak it all in, and then obviously like you can produce like a service, and I guess that would be what you call it, like a service of just like your knowledge is the value of your business, you know? So do you have like any partners or anybody that works with you right now, or is it you just you?
No, I feel like when you're good to good people, good things happen in return. So like the whole first year of Paradise, I was by myself, you know, growing the brand. I enjoyed that, to be honest. It was actually awesome to be back in the fire, and I relearned a lot about myself and the field, you know, because the field's changing every 6 months, it feels like.
Yeah.
So I took, I read through thoroughly a lot of resumes, you know, and I'm about good people. So there's a lot of former pro athletes that come back in and apply, or kids I've trained that were awesome at doing the jumps and stuff like that. But it was like, I wanted people that would be able to grow a kid from inside, not outside. You know? So now I got two assistants. One is Anthony. His name's Anthony Young. He was an All-American at Indiana and Akron. He's a 10-2, 10-3 track runner. He's blessed with that, so he's got the genetics there. And then I have a good friend who obviously is now my assistant coach. His name's Blake Gamble, and talking about relationships, I trained him my first year in that internship. He was one of the kids I worked with during that time. So I was being an assistant coach, and he was actually a football player at Walsh.
And both guys are amazing dudes.
Over the years, me and Blake have
just the two that came the one day. Okay.
Yeah, and with them, I feel like that's where Paradise is taking the leap, to be honest, is because I can only do so much. So like with them, we can connect to a lot more people, influence a lot more people in a positive way, and it's like those guys are two awesome people to do it. So
that's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's I don't know, just blessed, to be honest. Yeah.
The great people around you can do great things. You know, you got to have the right support, like we talked about earlier, the right support cast around you. That's the only way you're going to be able to reach those new heights and continue to, because especially when you're in the industry that you're in, I mean, reputation's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, anything in any business, reputation's everything. If you don't have a good reputation, you're not going to have great success long term, because people are like, oh, well, that was a great one-time experience, but that's it.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you want it to keep reoccurring. But especially kind of when you started launching Paradise, how's it, like, what challenge have you overcame as it's evolved into what it is today?
Time, to be honest. I feel like I thought going into being a business owner, I would be getting more time. you know,
yeah.
freeing your schedule a little bit more and being able to control your schedule. And truthfully, it was the actual opposite.
Yeah,
you know?
you work 24/7.
24/7.
Business
and
owners don't get
now
days
I'm
off.
not my only responsibility. So like Anthony, he has a baby. He has, you know, he's engaged as well. I don't know if he's married. I'm sorry. But yeah, so with that, like
Yeah.
now it's his wife, his family, his kid,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that I got to
Yeah.
worry about. So it's just, I'm trying, it's always a battle for time, to be honest. I
Yeah.
feel like that's the constant struggle for every business owner, in my opinion. It's
For
like,
sure. Good boundaries and
Good-
having enough
yeah,
time.
yeah.
And like what you were talking about, like we have, I think right now, like, well, we have some temps in there right now and stuff.
Yeah.
So like 10, 12 people usually. And so for us, like when we're making decisions, like that's obviously influencing us as we have 10 people
Yeah.
that are
10 families.
dependent
Relying
on
on you.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
Every
their
decision we
paychecks
make,
are because of our company.
If we make the wrong decision, it impacts, you know, 12 other families.
yeah.
It's
So
something you know, you can't take with a grain of salt. You're like, okay, here's what I want to
Yeah.
get to, but how do I get there without hindering anything that's still.
And a
that's
lot
gonna
of people
set
don't
anybody
feel
back.
that pressure. A lot
They
of people don't
don't.
understand that until they take, until they take that leap of being the business owner. And
You
being
really just
boss.
don't
It's
know,
like,
yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
and
You
it
don't know.
pushes you to like a whole new level of dedication. And I think also for me, parenthood for sure, like
Oh, yeah.
just having
yeah,
our
that'll
son
grow you.
Grayson,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that really proves to me just how resilient I am. Because if I can do it today when he sleeps at night, you know, I was also doing it when he was waking up 4 times a night.
Oh, yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
still going in, working all day long, hard factory work some days, like jumping on the line to help out and stuff. So now when I'm having a hard day, I remember that and I'm like,
Well, I
I've
think
done
that's
worse.
that's part of the struggle that going forward with that question is like you earn the gratitude enough to be able to pat yourself on the back once in a while.
Yeah,
You know, I feel like as an
definitely.
employee, you don't get that all the time. It's like you have to
Yes.
you have to have somebody tell you, "Hey, you're doing a great job."
Reassurance,
Hey,
Reassurance,
good job
yeah,
thank
doing
you.
yeah.
this, right.
You have to have somebody telling you you're doing a great job and you're doing awesome. But like in being a business owner, you have to kind of give yourself that reassurance, like, "Hey, you're doing a great job, man. Just keep it rolling." Because sometimes I
Yeah.
feel like that's the hardest part.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm really thankful for Griffin is because like I definitely hard on myself. Like our big thing for our product and everything is quality.
Yeah.
So like for me, like getting the best quality the fastest. So I take a lot of our work like super heavy and sometimes I'll bring it home and Griffin will be a great reminder of like you're doing great. Like this is still great. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not perfect. It's not up to the standard you want
you,
today,
you
but
have your partner in crime in life now. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's how I feel about Darian as well. And it's
Yeah.
like she gets me through some of those days when I come home. I'm like, man, I'm exhausted.
What was
and
I
have a
thinking
5
doing
a.m. the next
this?
morning. I could
Yeah.
cancel that. And she'd be like, are you crazy?
yeah.
Are you
not-
crazy?
you're
No,
not
you
doing
can't
that.
do
Yeah.
that. And
Holding each other accountable is
it's
so
big time.
important.
It's big
yeah.
time.
Yeah, because really like you're the backbone for all the people you're training, you know? Like you're pushing them and then, you know, she's helping to push you. So she's got your back on the days where you got nothing left in the tank.
And I try to return that same favor. That's where
Yeah.
like the balance of life comes into play.
Yeah.
It's like I try to do the same for her and she does the same for me. So it's like it's a pick me up. You know
Yeah,
that.
for
You know that.
sure.
I think especially even outside of that, finding the right people, friends around you that you can like sit down and have those conversations with that sometimes they help ground you and, you know, keep you like family's a big thing for me to be able to have those conversations with like my mom, my stepdad, you know, being able to talk to them
Yeah.
about like, oh, you know, here's where I'm going. And like just having that constant reminder from your friends, your family telling you, hey, here's what you're doing. Yeah, some days it's tough, but like, here's all the great things you're doing when you can't always see what that great thing is that you're
I
doing.
always tell everybody, I'm like, you're going to be as successful, and I learned this at a young age, you're going to be as successful as the closest 5 people next to you.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you can't have those
100%.
same conversations with those 5 people,
Yeah.
your circle's going to be extremely big, and you're going to be going in a lot of different directions, and you're never going to settle down on that one thing you're actually good at.
Yeah.
A lot of people are good at a lot of things, but there's not that many people great at anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's an extra realm there to like really tap in, you know?
And there's not a lot of people who are willing to just like take that jump. Like we were saying earlier, like that fear holds a lot of people back where I know that I heard it somewhere. I think it was maybe a podcast or something you had sent to me where somebody had said like where you are right now and like the fear on the other side of like, what if I don't make it? But the reality is when you're on this other side, there's not a lot of people out here who are willing to be entrepreneurs, who are willing to take that jump. So like, there's not necessarily competition in the sense of like, I have to be better than this next guy next to me. No, you just got to make friends with him.
Yeah.
Make friends with him,
Just be
learn
better.
from him.
Just be better every day.
And do better
yourself.
every day. And the people will find you because of who you are, of what you have.
And it's so funny you say that, because when I came, that's the one thing that I learned from my mentor, actually the opposite of the way he was doing things. When we came into the field, everybody was a competition. You know, like anybody that did fitness was, okay, let's go for them. Let's do better than them. Let's advertise better than them, train better than them. And it's like, if you continue to chase that, you're never going to get to where you want to be.
Make friends, not
Just
enemies.
keep focused on your little picture in your box that you're like, here's what I do and here's what I'm going to do great. Like, you can't be worried about the outside noise. If you're worried about the outside noise, it's going to affect the work that you do every day.
And I think that was my first step with Paradise. Is it's funny because I called everybody that was considered competition. Everybody. Like, they were all shocked to get the phone call and, hey, this is Brendon Sadler. Like, I wanted to talk to you about life. And, you know, and all of them were awesome. It was awesome. I got to go meet with them, visit their gyms, things like that. And I think that alone, like you said, is like reinventing the wheel. You don't have to be better than that person. You don't have to go invent the wheel yourself.
Just
don't go create something brand new. Just polish that wheel up. You know, it's like,
seriously. If you make friends, then, you know, if you don't know, like, you're limited on your knowledge. I know I don't know everything about owning a business or a candy confectioner. Like,
absolutely,
I know that. So, I mean, having people that you can call them up and say, you know what? I mean, I literally just did it 2 days ago. I called a good friend of ours he owns a company that's a customer of ours. And I basically was like, what are your lead times right now? Because my lead times are long because we're really growing. And like, we just added a second shift like a few months ago, and it's still just not enough to like get that growth out. And I'm like, tell me how you would solve this problem, you know, because he's been doing it for 2 decades and I've only been doing it for half a decade. So it matters having those people who are more experienced, because they're just going to be through all those times that, you know, you're approaching and saying like, how do I market better? Where do I find better customers? How do I do better at this skill? You know, being able to call people up like that is so important.
Not every big business, but a lot of big businesses have folded that way. When you think you're bigger than everybody else, those smaller companies come together and they're going to fold you. Yeah, that's life.
It's
you know,
powerful.
It's the rule of the jungle.
Yeah,
you know,
you got to be able to take the advice of Here's how I can navigate, because this is like a similar situation that they had that they've gone through, and here's what they kind of did. So I'm going to kind of take that same thing.
And if you're naive to think that like you can take on the world, then it's going to bury you. It really does.
It takes no prisoners.
You just have to go day by day. Like, I think that's what I'm really starting to get in the mindset of, is like, when we bought the business and then we really started to grow, and then we really, really started to grow, I started to get really overwhelmed. Like, I started to be like, oh no,
more money,
what have we
problems.
done? Yeah. And so then like, we kind of were like, okay, I'm obviously needing to rearrange how I look at this, because instead of being like stressed, I need to think like, first of all, I'm so blessed. Like, this is so amazing that I'm able to do this. And second of all, like, I can do this. There are people who have done harder things. So like, I can figure this out.
That every day.
Yeah. So that's big for me, is like, the right mindset will 100% depend on whether you succeed or fail.
Kind of going off that, like, what, other than obviously your fiance, your group of friends, do you do anything that helps kind of keep your
meditation,
your mental clarity at times that you have like bad days, bad times,
asking for a friend,
or going just kind of through
I'm still trying to learn that myself. Like, when, for example, like, you don't want to take anything that your problems from home and bring them into work,
right?
You know, stuff like that, or like if it's tough, to be honest. I think staying busy is what really
helps it.
You forget all of it.
That's how he is, for sure. Like, for him, when he's stressing, he wants to be like busy, so that way he's
if I'm not doing something, like, if I'm at home, I'm a chores guy. Like, there's no like roles at my house. If the dishes need done, trash needs out, like, I'm doing something. I think that's the ADHD, like the pro and the con.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I'm a gamer. You know, like, I'll game every once in a while, but that's really it. I mean,
and I've heard through the grapevine, if anybody wants to play UNCAA football 25,
it's Madden right now. It's
Madden
right now.
$20 games.
It's
Sad will take you.
That's it.
That's open to anybody. Anybody can catch those hands. That's what I hear.
They're gonna get them. They're gonna get them. No, I've been playing Madden competitively since NCAA too, but I've been playing both since I was 16 competitively. That was
crazy.
When I said I grew up poor. That was the way I made money. It was either all my homies were in the streets, and I
Yeah.
still
That's
have
a
some
good
back
way
there.
of making money, though.
And
I mean,
it was like, it's
yeah.
either sell these drugs and do that role or find something else to kill your time. And mine was sports and gaming. That was it. That's all I did. If I went home, it was video games.
How did you end up going like pro or professionally gaming like that? Like, how do you get into that?
Gaming now is taking off like in the past 10
Like
years.
crazy,
Like
yeah.
you can get a major in esports now.
yeah,
So it's
Yeah,
like, if I
yeah,
would've done that,
Akron
I know
has
Akron
that.
U
loved college.
offers that, and they
Yeah.
have like the
Oh, I
club,
loved
like the
it.
varsity esports team. And
Yeah.
we had
We
a,
saw their setup. I was
we had
like,
a friend,
this is not.
We had a friend who his brother played on the team. So we went to
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
that's
match one
right.
day.
It's a
They're
big-
like, it's all set up, and there's
It's
like
a
an
big deal.
audience.
They tailgate and everything.
It's so
they're
cool.
real
They
deal.
like zoomed in, like they had like a Zoom because of further away school, and they had like they're on Zoom and they're playing against this team, and you could like they had referees. I'm like, this is a whole setup, dude.
Legit.
I
Yeah.
think we were just ahead of the time because at the time there was a TV show back in the day called Madden Nation where
Yeah.
they would like travel from city to city and then you'd have to play a local tournament to win
Like
the
a
local
GameStop tournament kind of thing.
GameStop
to hit.
tournament.
Yeah.
They don't tell you there's
okay.
like 3 tournaments in between that one, but you win those 3
Oh,
tournaments,
okay.
and then once you get to that point, when that bus pulls in, you get to play that player that's on the bus, and it's pretty much like a vacation. They just go around city to city, and you're playing video games.
That's so cool.
And I got on the bus to play the guy. I qualified to play. I did not win to get on the bus, unfortunately, but they play for like $1 million prize. But now they do all that stuff on websites now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah.
all
they
that
don't.
other
That
stuff.
show it wouldn't
Yeah.
even stand a purpose nowadays. Like they just.
That's so cool, though.
It's completely different now.
The
Yeah.
power of social media.
Big time.
Yeah,
Oh, big
seriously.
time. Yeah.
I mean, the webcam, social media, all that stuff. Well, that's really cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
How have you kind of, speaking of social media, how have you seen that as a tool or a hindrance for your I mean, I assume kind of what you do, it has to be
It's
a
like
huge tool.
You have to be a social media marketer in my field nowadays. Like you have to. I have learned how to edit videos pretty much as good as most. Like now,
Yeah.
now it's Instagram, obviously, not to. But
Right.
it's.
You
I
gotta
don't know.
wear hats, many hats.
You really do. You really do. And I've gotten really good at video editing. So I'm big on social media. I feel like it's very, very important. I feel like that's how you connect to the youth. And my main market is the youth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they keep me young, so I got to stay hip to the newest
Yeah,
trends.
that's
Man,
true.
I'll
That's
be,
like
true.
that.
I'll
I
be at
couldn't.
practice, and one of them will just say something like, what does that even, like, I don't even, can't begin to tell you what the definition of the word you just
It's
told me
starting to
is.
show. I'm starting to get some things. It's starting to show my age now.
Yeah,
like
I
music for
always
one of
thought-
them.
Like skibbity or whatever it
Yeah.
was. They started
There's
saying that.
all-
I was like, what does that
man.
even mean?
It's crazy. I learn something new every day with these kids. It
I
really
used
is.
to think when I was in like high school and stuff and we all had our slang and I used to be like, there's no way I wouldn't know. There's no way I will get old enough or
Mm-hmm.
get out of the loop. I'll always know what's hip and cool. And then now I'm looking
we're
back and I'm
getting
like,
there.
wow.
Oh, I think I'm out of the loop.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
a
like
big
the-
social
super
media
out of the
guy to
loop.
begin with. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I have
you're
like
like a
Facebook.
ghost.
I have like I don't do Snapchat. I don't do like Instagram. I don't do any of those other apps.
He literally
That's
has
wild.
Facebook
And
and,
I'm
he
like-
doesn't
And
do
you have a
anything
successful
on
business
Facebook.
without doing so. That's kind of wild.
But she knows social media. She knows
Yeah.
marketing. So it's like
Okay.
where those pros
Yeah.
like are, where our strengths come in is like I
Yeah.
do more of the sale. Like I like to do the
He's
food show
in-person
sales side.
sales.
That's
And she
Super
likes to do
strong
more
on
like the
that.
social media and that stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it helps like our
You guys
strengths
are building
help run
off
the
your
business
strengths.
together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so it's so awesome. Like we're just a really good match partnership wise, like for business, because his sales are really strong to the point where like I used to hate sales more than anything in the world. And like I would hate having to call up a customer or anything like that. And now Griff's kind of like, nah, this is how we're gonna do this. This is how we're gonna sell this. Like he just knows the magic.
It's just relating
It's
to
cool.
people and just showing
Yeah.
like, because a big thing I've said before is like if your customers aren't succeeding, you're not succeeding.
Yeah,
My
no doubt.
biggest thing is I want you to succeed because I succeed. Because if you're selling my product really well, that means that I'm selling you my product, and that's what I want. That's what I want for you is to be as successful as possible. So it's like we both have a vested interest, and that's kind of where I take it
Yeah.
into coaching. I take it into life. I take it into everything. Of like my vested interest is the person that I'm helping or doing business with, whatever it may be, because I want them to be as successful as possible.
Yeah.
No doubt. No
Can
doubt.
we take a minute and talk a little bit about your like Redeemer program that you guys did? Because
Yeah.
I knew a little bit about it, but I hadn't gone to a practice or anything.
Yeah,
and
I mean-
I think what you're doing at Redeemer is also really awesome. So
Me and one of my good friends, Colleen Taylor, we volunteer coach last year at Redeemer in Cuyahoga Falls, and kind of over the summer we got in touch with with SADS, or I guess a little bit before the summer, but over the summer we ended up doing a program with Paradise, and I think the kids, you can see how much they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And during COVID, being in a small private school really hurt that school.
Yeah, their basketball program.
It just enrollment went down. Sports were on a hiatus. They didn't have enough kids to play, and then obviously the state was shut down, and we'd just come off of the boys team winning state, and we were coaching the girls team at that point, and we ended up second. We came second in state. Both of us got invited to nationals. Nationals got canceled.
Yeah,
and then coming back 3 years later, and going back into coaching at the same school and seeing the drastic difference was like, all right. And they're like, oh, you guys want to be very good. We ended up going about 500 last year, which, we took as a huge success for a lot of kids never playing basketball.
Yeah, because he was laying like a lot of the foundational parts. I mean, you've seen the kids that he was coaching.
Yeah, it's just laying the foundation of basketball. And then I was like, how we can get to that next level is bring it in Paradise of this can help you guys train, help you guys understand. I can teach you basketball. He can teach you like how to be a better athlete.
Gives them the access to the behind the scenes stuff that they don't see on the TV,
yeah. And also like one thing that you had talked about several times was like the kids didn't have like anything that really clicked to them that made them want to go home and like play basketball outside. Like that's kind of the day and age that we're in, is like they want to be scrolling on their phones or playing video games and stuff like that, and like there's not a whole lot that gets them to go outside and want to do that stuff now. But like being able to have your guys' program, it kind of like rejuvenated it, I think, for sure, because like even you said, the beginning and the end, you can tell the difference.
Since the beginning of summer when we started that program, they're like, I can't wait for basketball now. That's awesome. I see it like I run the youth group at our church and stuff like that, and some of the kids are in that, and they're like, can't wait for basketball this year. Oh yeah, I'm going home. I've been doing these things that we did over the summer. The stuff that you were showing them to do, like they're still doing. I'm like, keep doing that, like, and then trying to get them into your gym, like, here's where you guys can do it at a place if that's for you.
Literally, that's the whole reason why Paradise was invented. Like, just be honest, because like anybody can teach the bench, the squats, the deadlifts, and all the stuff that we have to read in the books and get certified for. But it's like, can you connect with these kids? Because like a lot of these kids never even stepped on the court. Some of them are brand new to it, and it's like you can come in and you can. For example, I don't want to say no names, but like somebody looked at me as soon as I walked in and was like, hey man, like this isn't a normal group that you would be used to training. And I'm like, what? To me, in my head, I'm like, what the hell is that?
To be honest, what does that mean?
Absolutely.
I'm attacking that. So like I walk in and I see these kids and I'm like, they're just
kids.
They're a blank chalkboard.
I had a kid who played for us last year who told me at the beginning of the year, and he was like, I don't think we'll win a game. And I was like, I guarantee you we will.
Yeah. You have to be.
Because the big thing is like, I'm like.
It's attitude for sure.
There's always going to be, as you know in athletics, and how my coach always instilled in me was, there's always going to be a team that's better athletically than you, but you're going to work harder than them. Like, we will never lose a game being outworked. We'll never lose a game not doing the small things. If we lose a game because they're just better athletes and we played great defense and they're just making that's
how it is.
We're not mad about that. But I'm not going to lose a game that's sloppy and we're just not having that mental strength to get through the game.
Yeah. Which definitely, I feel like that's a huge part of where training probably comes in, is like getting that confidence back and like your ability to kind of have muscle memory, stuff like that. I mean, I've never been to a practice, so I don't know.
We had a special ed girl in there in the one session, and she even like enjoyed herself the first couple sessions. Like it was just like, truthfully, I didn't know how many kids would show up after the first session, because my thing is like I come in, I test them that first day. So it's very, very like laid back, very, very chill. And so you never know. You just truly never know. And we had and what was even crazier is at that time, he was okay with working with my crazy schedule. So like I'm in and out, in and out. So we had our full coach rotation in there. And for all those kids to still be as attentive as it was awesome. It was awesome.
They connected with each coach as well as like Anthony and Blake. Like they both connected with the kids on a whole different level. Like they had their own jokes with the kids. You had your own jokes with the kids. Like they'd go and you guys all do different things. They're like, oh, now can we play a game? And then one day they're like, all the guys were like, oh, we could beat you three coaches in basketball, like me, Sads, and Anthony. Were like, sure you could. They're like, yeah, we could. Like 15 on 3. We're like, we gotta show you how this is done real quick.
Like don't get too confident. You know, there's a reason why we're coaching you. You know.
You're like, I love the confidence, but let's
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us, and I hope you're willing to come back one of these days,
Yeah, no
talk
doubt.
even more.
Is there anything
so.
right now that you want to plug, you want to talk about? The floor is
Shout
yours,
out
man. If you have anything you
anything.
want to do.
No, come trade in paradise,
Yeah.
we do build good relationships there. That's the biggest thing about it. And we're just now building our adult programming. So we got adults coming in the morning and throughout the day. So if you guys are interested or know anybody interested, that's where we're trying to tap into now, is build the adult side. And I actually am trying to expand more facilities towards the Canton area. So I'm trying to make some more satellite sites to where we have
Nice.
a facility in Canton. I'm working on a satellite site back in my hometown in West Virginia.
That's where I want to go. The one in
Yeah.
Canton, close
So
to my house.
we're putting our feet in the mud and grinding right now. We're digging
Yeah.
in. So
Awesome,
it's
dude.
Love that.
the process is there. The keys are there. We just got to put everything together and
Lots of
formulate it.
growth,
Yeah, so
and that's
the
exciting.
future. So hopefully, the next time I come here, we'll be 3 paradises in.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll
And
be talking about the success of your
That'd
growth.
be awesome.
and-
That's the
yeah.
goal. That's the goal.
I say I appreciate you, and I know the work that you put in. That it's gonna be nothing but a success, man. And I'm happy to know you as a friend and be able to see you grind and grow with it and all the things you're doing, man.
No,
So
I
keep it up.
appreciate you guys so much. This has been a
Thanks.
blessing. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
We'll have you on again.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys. That
All
was
right.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
a wrap, ladies and gents.
Perfect.
Sweet.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Smooth.
no problem, man. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys. That was smooth.
Man, these mic stands.
Yeah, it kept dropping.
Matt really puts me in a corner and starts dropping.
Normally,
I'm like,
That's
normally
what the
Matt's
pillow is
yelling at me
for.
from the back, like, yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Bob
That's
Barker,
right.
this.
No, this couch too, you can really end up sinking. So I got this pillow to.
I like that couch.
Yeah, it's not
I like
too bad.
that old school look on the couch.
I do too.
I think it brings in a whole new environment
Oh yeah,
for the podcast.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I was gonna tell you, whenever talking about social media, can you grab my phone real quick and like take a picture of me on a mic?
Oh yeah. Get some good behind the scenes. Griffey,
Yeah,
get
you
over
got
here
to.
and act like
Got
you're chatting.
Yeah, just snag a few. You're a better picture taker than me, probably.
I guess I'll just
Don't-
back in. Let me speak back in. This
Can you get in there, boss?
this thing is gonna kill
Come
me.
see
dude.
me in the morning for
I
adult
know. I'm gonna
fitness.
have to. That didn't help.
Yeah, come see me
Now
in
you
the
see why I'm
morning.
not making it to 90.
No, it's because I moved your pillow. So that's
I know.
my
That's why I was like
fault.
trying to do I pull it out or what?
Do you want me to?
Yes, because that's like incredibly uncomfortable.
You didn't have to
Alright.
get fully in. I just wanted a couple pics.
Yeah, but then she said behind the scenes stuff, so now we just gotta sit here and do it and
Yeah.
look like we're doing it. So
Good. What? No, is it skipping?
She takes a
So
million.
no, I have a million photos. So
Oh,
one time I went into what the heck do I have? T-Mobile, it was Sprint at the time, and I went in the Sprint and transferred from getting one phone to a new phone.
3.5
I had to
days.
transfer all my photos over.
Mm-hmm.
I had so many photos of like little men, man, like 10 to 14-year-old boys with their shirts off, like doing pre and post photos, and
they're probably like,
oh, Cops was in there. Cops came in. It was like, hey, that's serious. That's serious. I had to show my license, certification, everything, like showing what I did. They were like, oh, yeah. They thought I was a
We should have had the
pedophile.
mics rolling for
Oh,
that.
man.
I think they're
Oh,
still. Yeah, I want to hear
what?
that
I wanna
story.
know.
Prove it not. But yeah, no, it's no. They called in, and I had to show them all the pictures, show them my certifications, show them what I did, and yeah, put a yeah. It was a little wild.
That
Welcome
is
to my life.
crazy.
That was my feels. Now I have the kids take the photos on their phones.
You're like,
Yeah.
I learned a
my
lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, I learned my lesson.
I learned a lesson. They take the photos now and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
post what they
Yeah.
want. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll
You
do
have
the
a
pre and
Google
the
Drive
post.
with
I'll tell them like, I
12,000
was like, remember those photos we
village
took 4 months ago? Yeah, go back and look through those and give them to me so I can.
Yeah, you do it together and then send me that one.
Before and afters? That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I would have never thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
You were probably like,
Oh, I freaked out. Because like you said, like reputation is everything in this field. So I'm like, it
Yeah.
takes one person to think
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's
oh,
good
God.
that you can like back it up.
Oh,
I mean,
man, it's
obviously.
You're like, I
crazy.
promise you, I am legal.
Yeah. I was like, here's my 3 cards for the
Right.
last 3 times I've been recertified. I was like, so here you
I
go.
didn't just start this. I've been doing this for a while.
That's
So
the
it was
amount
crazy.
of that
It was a
everything.
crazy experience, but definitely life lesson learned for sure.
That's crazy.
One you did not ever
Nah,
think about
didn't
until
think
what
I-
happened.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And now you can tell everybody else, have them take the photos.
Yeah,
You don't take the
I'm
photos.
telling you, I do. It's no joke.
That's crazy.
I
I'm
do.
going to tell Matt, hey, clip that.
I'll tell you.